Despite the bright sunlight streaming through the terrace doors, the room was harsh, hard, and glaring. The marble of the floor reflected blinding rays of sunlight. The chairs were lined up around the table, stiff and formal like soldiers at attention. The ceiling soaked up every attempt at conversation, the feeble words disappearing in the height of the room. Marie presided over the breakfast table like a general, perfectly at ease in the strict formality. The Comte was not at his seat. Adrienne slipped into her chair, a soft bonjour, barely audible in the cool air. Silverware clinked against the china plates. The clock ticked. China coffee cups hit their saucers with a ringing sound. Adrienne swallowed one bite of scrambled egg. She laid her fork down. "Mama?" Her voice came out rough and coarse. Adrienne stared at her mother across the table. "May I be excused?" Genevieve's eyes left her plate, flitted over to her daughter's face. She was lost in her own thoughts and had not noticed her daughter. Nothing seemed to register, in her eyes or her voice. "Adrienne, you've barely touched your breakfast," Marie observed. "I'm not very hungry this morning," Adrienne whispered. "Maman, may I go?" Genevieve's eyes were back on her plate again. "Yes, fine, you're excused." Adrienne slipped off her chair, and she and Lucie went outside for a stroll in the morning sunshine. Marie cleared her throat. She held her coffee cup before her, both hands wrapped around it, and gazed at the door to the terrace. Adrienne and her governess were walking in the distance. "Genevieve, I'm not sure you understand the severity of this situation," she began. Genevieve sighed, wishing she could escape from her sister. "What do you mean?" Marie took her time answering. "It's obvious that Adrienne has a very active imagination, but the way you and Papa coddle her, she has begun to think her imagination is real." Marie raised her delicate china cup and sipped from her coffee, her gray eyes locked on her sister. "You must not encourage such behavior, all these stories and fantasies and imaginings." Genevieve's hands rested in her lap. Her fingers toyed with her linen napkin. Coffee and juice sat before her, untouched. "But, Marie, the story she told was true." "Of course it is." Marie sipped from her coffee cup, her elbows resting on the table. "I wrote to you about the chapel. I distinctly remember that. You and Papa may have discussed it. Perhaps you even read the letter out loud." Genevieve searched her memory. She did have a vague recollection of such a letter. She never cared much for what Marie had to say, and would often let letters from her sister sit for days without opening them. It seemed that her sister had two main themes in any of her communications. They always centered on the perfection of her son, or on what Genevieve was doing wrong. Genevieve had long ago grown weary of both topics. But the Comte was fascinated with the New World. He read everything Marie sent. He purchased every publication he could find about Indians or the Wild West or life on the American frontier. He probably had read the letter out loud. "She's young. She's sensitive to everything she hears. She seems bright enough. Perhaps she has heard the whole story from that letter I sent and remembers much more than most children her age." The prim set of Marie's lips left no room for argument. "Perhaps," Genevieve conceded. She looked at the terrace doors, at the bright sunlight washing over the flowers outside, and felt relief at such a simple solution. Genevieve did not have the energy to figure out what was going on with her daughter, and Marie's idea made so much more sense than the idea that Adrienne might actually have seen the events she described. But there was another part of Genevieve that did not want to agree with her older sister. She did not want Marie to be right. She did not want Marie to have all the answers. She could well remember all the years of Marie telling her what to do, what to think, how to behave. She remembered coming downstairs at the age of 15 in a silk dress the color of spring leaves. Genevieve loved